Except for Juve, everyone did their jobs this weekend, including the guys at Forno Tony. And I'm talking about the Champions League race. I'm talking about the best bakery in Western New York. Billy and Mo here on the Couch Guys. It is just me this week. Different episode. Couch Guys, you could follow us on all your favorite podcasting platforms and social media. But Billy and Mo, how are you guys doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having us today. I got a question for you. Is this the first time you guys have had someone doing the podcast while baking?
Yes. Yeah. I got Billy.
Yeah,
what are you making over there?
Yeah, some canoncini.
Nice.
There was the one, the guy from T Dot Italians up in Toronto. He was working on the pod too. I remember that one.
Exactly. I was just about to say that there was one time where Angelo from Toronto Italians was printing jerseys. This was right before the Euros, back in 2021. So you're not the first guy to be working, but first guy to be making food. So I just ate, Billy. I just ate, but I'm hungry again.
Oh, perfect. All right, I gotta say, I'm just glad we got the good one of the Three Musketeers. Two bums up.
Thank you. Listen, you guys are the Roma fan, Milan fan, me as a Juve fan. We'll talk about Juve later, but it was a turning point in the Champions League race this weekend. Roma with the derby win, 2-0 over Lazio. Milan with the 2-1 win over Genoa. So that puts them in the driver's seats for the Champions League race now. If they each win on the last match day coming up this weekend, they each qualify for the Champions League. It's as simple as that. I don't know if you guys want to start with the derby, Billy, if you want to take it away. First of all, did you guys wake up at 6 a.m. to watch these games?
Yeah, we had to get up. It wasn't too bad. When I used to live on the West Coast, it used to be a 3:30 wake up, so 6:30 is not too bad.
Yeah.
I slept over at my fiance's house and woke up early. She's from Napoli and her dad obviously too. And I was excited to watch all the games. And when I woke up, he was just watching the Napoli game. And, I sat with him, we were watching the Napoli game. I was waiting for him to go back and forth to the other games. We're talking about, Fiorentina just scored, blah, blah. And I'm expecting him to change the channel. He's Napoli through and through. He just makes no difference on this race. The Napoli game, they're winning. They got their UCL spots, so that was kind of funny. But I went phone for the game. So
I'll be honest. I had woken up at 6. I was debating. I was like, do I get out of bed, start watching the game? Put my head down, wake up at 7. I'm like, I'll watch second half. Open my phone, see they're down 1-0. Still watch second half, but miserably as a Juve fan. But I think the only other fan base that could complain this week is Lazio fans. Look, losing the Coppa Italia final, losing in the derby. Mancini with the 2 goals, Billy. I mean, how big is this? Not only in terms of the derby, but also in terms of Champions League. Obviously, first time in what? I think it's 7 years.
Yeah.
This is a huge win.
The last moment, I remember Zaniolo scored against Porto in that leg 1, and then ever since then it's been downhill in Europe or in Champions League for Roma. But no, I think I don't know. I don't want to jinx it too much. You know what I mean? I'm very superstitious. I don't want to talk about it before it happens. But I don't know. I think it's big from a project standpoint with all the stuff that's been going on in Rome with Ranieri and Gasperini and kind of their battle, and the Friedkins realistically picking Gasperini and picking his vision. So I think it's big with that in mind. With Roma, the Champions League money is always huge if we can get it, just for the project and building out Gasperini's squad. So it's just a step forward with the project, I think. I don't want to jinx it too much, but right now it's exciting times.
I mean, I think with Roma, it's when I'm looking at Milan, Juve, Roma, Como, when I'm watching Roma with them, I feel a different energy from the others. With the others, I feel like we have a bunch of squads who are doing their best job to mess this up, right? It's Milan leaves it till the end with Genoa, who they made Genoa look like a Champions League team yesterday. But I think with Roma, you got to look at they have the longest win streak right now in Europe. I think they've won like 7 games straight or something like that. So like they have all the momentum, and then when you watch them, you just I feel like you feel that passion and that energy. Like I can't remember if it was last week, the week prior, but when Mancini scored and he ran down to the Curva to celebrate, like, I don't know, Roma just has an energy right now that the other squads just don't have. I think it's really negative around Milan, around Juve right now, but with Roma, I feel like it's the only squad that is trending up, both like, I don't know, just as a squad and also just as a fan base. But
yeah, it was definitely. There's rumors that Malin might come out with the Ronaldo haircut, the original Ronaldo haircut, because he's such a banger right now. So we'll see if that's true. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend.
But it is true, they are trending up. Look, a couple weeks ago they were in 6th place. They were in 5th place for 2 weeks. Now they're in 4th. So they're definitely earning it. Not like Juve right now. And last game is against a Verona team that is guaranteed to go down to Serie B. Easy trap game, right, Billy?
Yeah.
What do you want them to see? I know, obviously, you want to see a win, right? But what do you want to see on the pitch to make sure they get that done?
Yeah, just for all of our sakes, just to score early. Maybe get too early and just ride it out. I don't think my heart can take 80th minute 0-0 some type of situation. It is kind of nerve-wracking with Wesley got the red, so he's not going to play. I think Ndika has maybe a hamstring tear, so he's going to be out. Kone and Pellegrini, I don't think are going to be able to return, so it is kind of a banged-up squad. But I don't know. Me and my brother actually went to the Verona game in Stadio Olimpico in September, and Roma they just had so much more talent. So I'm just hoping I'm hoping we score early and we just ride this out. That's the plan, I guess.
Does I guess, Billy, do you think Dybala, like, how much playing time do you think he gets against Verona? Do you think he's playing from the start?
I think he's playing from the start. Obviously, I don't think he's going to probably play the full 90. I think he's going to get the start rather than come in late because I think it's just we just want to put total pressure on these guys right from the beginning. But yeah, no, I think Dybala will get the start in maybe 60, 65 minutes.
And yeah, for Milan, I mean, you mentioned it, Mo. A bit of a more nerve-wracking game. They did get out to the 2-0 lead, but Genoa scored late and obviously had pressure to try to tie it up. But Milan squeaked away with the win, Allegri style. Look, this is a team, obviously, 7 Champions League titles, all that. It's very different if Milan qualifies for the Champions League than if Roma qualifies for the Champions League. Regardless, you got to be happy with the result, especially after the fact that they weren't in the Champions League this year, so it's more like just a bounce back season. Just kind of wrap it up, move on with it, right, and get into the big dance next year.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a who knows with Milan at the moment, right? I think we're going to go into that game against Cagliari, and we're going to see, I think we're going to see the same thing we've seen for the last, seems like 5 weeks or so, especially since Modric has been missing. Yeah, I think it's like, we'll see this team maybe get that goal, but then, they can let a goal through just as easily as they could score one. I think I'd probably go against the grain. Like, I think Allegri has done a pretty good job with a pretty mediocre squad this year. I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be the same exact game. I think Milan should be able to pull it out. I would hope that they have the motivation, but, I think the shakiness that Milan has, like, from the top down in the club will be the reason why they don't get it if they don't. I think there's just so much up in the air with, with who's going to be in the front office next year that's really going to change the outcomes and the fates of, the Leaos and Magnans and all these players. So I don't know. I don't know that they're motivated, to be honest. Like I would hope they are. And I think this is why you have Modric, is to keep the team focused even when there is this uncertainty. But yeah, I think, between Milan and Juve, like I said, I think they both have the same, trajectory at the moment. And, it's unfortunately kind of anyone's guess is what's going to happen this week. But
yeah, looking at even this last match day, like as a Juve fan, we kind of need a miracle from other teams. We need other teams to drop points. If I'm not mistaken, we need, I think, 2 of Roma, Como, and Milan to drop points. And it kind of, the way you're talking about it kind of makes me think back in 2021. I don't know if you guys remember, but Juve had to beat Bologna on the last match day, and then Napoli had to drop points against Verona. And that's exactly what happened. And Juve got into the Champions League. So obviously, as Juve fan, that's what I'm hoping to see. If I'm a betting man, Como could fall under pressure and Milan could be unmotivated. Look, I think Roma, they're motivated. It's 7 years, no Champions League football. They're gonna wanna get it done. We'll have to see what the other two teams. Personally, I don't think Juve is gonna make the Champions League just because of matchups and everything. Look, even with Milan, they're playing a Cagliari team that guaranteed their spot in Serie A next season. They won against Torino. They have nothing left to play for at this point, and that could help Milan, right? So, yeah, like you said, if Juve does make the Champions League, it is Milan's own doing. But again, it could be an easy trap game. Are you worried about that at all? Like personally, if I'm a Milan fan, looking at a coach like Allegri, I know he'll probably get the job done. But again, it's one game. You never know what happens.
Yeah, I'm like, I definitely do not feel certainty that Milan are going to be able to get it done. I think especially too, like, yeah, on one hand, Calcio has nothing to play for, but I think especially against an Allegri team, those types of teams can actually hurt you, right? Like the teams that are playing free, that are not worried about conceding, that are just kind of attacking Milan's half, like that's the type of team that Allegri definitely can struggle with. And I think Calgary's, look, they're coming off a big win against Torino. They have a lot of really good young Italian players. And I definitely don't feel as though Milan have it in the bag. I think too, Milan are playing at the San Siro, and I think at the end of the day, the fans are not the most happy with the club right now, right? So I think that advantage of home field kind of goes out the window. I don't think that's going to be super strong for Milan at the moment. I think the atmosphere around their last few games has been like a lot of anger, a lot of people wanting Furlani out, wanting Cardinale to sell the team, wanting Maldini back. You guys saw the images, I don't know, but everyone in the crowd against the last game was holding up like Maldini jerseys. And you just see, I mean, it's like that's the atmosphere right now. It's like there's kind of a desire for a revolution from Milanisti, and I think that could also really weigh on some of these players, right? Like we've seen Leao is not the most mentally tough. So when the Milanisti are not behind him, he could come out and have one of his games where he doesn't get into a rhythm and loses the ball a lot. And yeah, I think again, like not having Modric is definitely going to hurt Milan in this final game. So.
And lastly, look, I'll talk quickly about Juve. Obviously, disappointing result against Fiorentina, but it's not only that; it's all these games this year that you're playing teams, mid-table, bottom-table teams that you should win against. And obviously, guys, look, we know sports, anything could happen, right? But if you are a team like Juve, if you do have those ambitions to qualify for the top four, to be a serious contender again, you can be losing these games, especially at home, especially as the last home game of the season. It's embarrassing. Frankly, it's embarrassing. Obviously, I watched the second half, and what I saw was a lot of disconnect offensively. A lot of just passing around the ball, close to the box, not getting much done, no creativity. Fiorentina clearly set up a box to prevent that. But even defensively, the fact that they've allowed so many shots, so many goals on these first shots throughout the season, it's let's be real, it's unacceptable. On the other hand, as crazy as it sounds, playing one season in the Europa League could maybe help, because you think back, I think it was 2023, they got knocked out of the Champions League, went to the Europa League knockout round and did well. They made the semifinals and everything. And that seriously helped the team. It helped, confidence. Even look, money-wise, it's better to have a run I'm sure it's better to have a run in the Europa League than constantly get knocked out in the first round or the first knockout stage of the Champions League as well. So maybe this is an opportunity for Juve to reset, because right now, the past few seasons, it's just been a constant process of just trying to qualify for the Champions League, without improving, right? It's, oh, okay, we finished fourth place. Okay, we're satisfied. Now that the other teams have caught up with them, it's, maybe it is time for Juve to have reset. I'm a bit surprised that they re-signed Spalletti as quickly as they did, because originally his goal was to qualify for the Champions League, but then now he has the contract and they're not going to get it, most likely not. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if it's not Spalletti, who else would it be? So I get it. Regardless, guys, like, Juve needs a project, and it feels like every few years they're changing projects. That's what's a frustrating thing as a fan. It's like I said, it's constant cycles, rinse and repeat, whether it's Allegri 2.0, whether it's Motta, Tudor, now to Spalletti. I do think Juve also needs patience. These next few seasons could be painful. It could be that we don't make the Champions League again for another 2-3 years. I hope that's not the case. I hope we're, fighting for the Scudetto before you know it, because it's been 6 seasons now. I know it's not a long time, but when you win 9 straight in a row, you kind of want another one quickly after. But it's, in terms of this last match day. Sorry,
I think there's a coach they can go after who just lost I don't know if he lost his job, but a Spanish coach who just became free from a Manchester position.
Yeah. To be honest, I thought you were going to bring up Conte, but Guardiola.
No, I mean, that's another one too.
Yeah, Guardiola is really not a bad idea. I think I don't know if you'd want to take on this project the way it's a mess right now, right? But for sure, not a bad idea. Apparently, Juve, if that's the case, Juve would go from one bald manager to another, which I would like. But
it seems like the theme of Juve's season has been a bit of buyer's remorse, and I think Spalletti continues that. Like, look, I think really what their issue has been this year is I think they kind of missed on the summer signings, right? I think the most notable one was Jonathan David. I'm sorry, I know, you guys got the Canadian in you that probably wants him to succeed, but he just, I don't know, he hasn't looked good. He hasn't been scary. I think Boga was like, at this point in his career is kind of a question mark. Like, maybe 4 years ago would have been exciting, but it seems like he was kind of like a Band-Aid. And then, you have the Vlahovic situation and not getting resolved. And yeah, I don't know. And then now I think with Spalletti, I'm sure that, the board is probably looking at it. They're seeing Conte become available unexpectedly. They're seeing Guardiola. I mean, you'd have to imagine that they might reconsider re-signing Spalletti at this point, right? If they could go back, knowing where they're going to be in the table come May 22nd, as well as, what coaches were going to become available. So I don't know. It's they're in a peculiar situation, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It like you said, buyer's remorse, or maybe they act on things a bit too quickly. Look, Jonathan David, I'll continuously defend him because he is Canadian. But I do think, like, he was signed for one coach, another coach comes in, and it's just not the same system. But let's be real, Juve doesn't have a striker right now. Whether it's David, whether it's Vlahovic, anybody, right? There's just no. I don't know if there's any other striker out there that would succeed. and score, let's say, 15 goals with this Juve team. So I think it's a system failure. I hope David stays. I hope he gets a second chance. I'm excited to watch him at the World Cup this summer. But that we'll see. In terms of this last match day, look, I want to see Juve to win, but I do expect the other teams to win as well, just like we saw this past weekend. And all these draws against and losses against lower level teams, it's going to come back to haunt them. And, it's Europa League next year. In terms
got to shout out, though, that Mandragora goal.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mamma mia. That was just a beautiful goal. When he hit that, I got out of my seat.
Guys, in terms of coaches and stuff, the team we all support, the Italian national team, we're still looking, right? Obviously the big news for Napoli out of this weekend, it is Conte saying he's stepping down at the end of the season. Obviously rumors are quick with him with the national team. First of all, would you guys take him back for the national team? What do you guys think about that possibility? Billy, you want to go first?
I feel like it's two-sided, right? I'd take him back because the guy has a history of coming into, difficult projects and just getting wins. On the other hand, it feels like we're still not getting the message that we need to move the game forward. And we're kind of just stuck in trying to work on just see what past solutions can come up. So I don't know. I'd prefer maybe a little more modernization of the Azzurri, but at the end of the day, Conte gets results, and he gets the job done. The training's going to be different. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. What do you think, Mo?
Yeah, I don't know. I think where we're at now is without having the president, it's tough to know if we want a manager who can come in and have a vision for the future of the Azzurri, or we want a manager who can come in and manage, a young squad and get the most out of them and help them grow, right? I think that's kind of where I'm at. I think if you're telling me that, I don't know, it seems like the president's going to be that Malago, and if he comes in, then it's, I don't know. You can't help but feel like we're getting kind of, a little bit of Gravina regurgitated to us, right? And if that's the case, I think I want a manager who's going to really look at the full system, right? And kind of think about how it can help, help us develop young players even past the first squad. That said, if we're talking about getting the most of the pieces available to you now, Conte feels a little bit like Billy said, we're just kind of going in the past. I don't get a good feeling when I think about it. I kind of get a little bit of Allegri at Milan type feeling where the problems exist even if you bring in Conte, and he's not going to solve those problems. My personal favorite was was Maresca, but it seems like I think he just got picked up by someone. Who was it?
Sees the rumor for City, I think, to replace Pep.
Oh yeah, he's getting bigger for City. So if he's going to get taken, but for me, he was a guy who I think Chelsea had a really young squad, right? He took them to that Club World Cup. He won a tournament with them. He did struggle a little bit. Seems like in this season, I don't watch a lot of Prem, but it seems like, he struggled kind of this year, which kind of led to him getting fired. So on and so forth. I don't think Chelsea have a great squad personally. So for me, that's I kind of take that with a grain of salt. But the fact that he helped a lot of those players develop and also kind of took them right against a club like PSG in the World Cup and won it, to me was really impressive. And I don't know, he has kind of has the aura of what I want out of the next Azzurri manager. I want someone young. I want someone promising. I want someone exciting. And I felt that with him. And so I guess now where we're at, I don't know. I don't love Conte, but I don't have an idea of where we should go from here.
I feel like my brother said, I feel like coaches, it's not I don't know. It's still an issue, but I feel like it's the last issue to work on. There's so many like stuff you need to put in place before that, and if we just get a coach first, yeah, I feel like we're just going to continue the cycle. They did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw it. They changed like the qualification format today. So, knock on wood, I don't think we should have a problem getting in after this one. Now, how it is, they dropped the groups, and now it's going to be like Champions League, one big table. But yeah, I just think there's so many, there's so many bigger problems than coach that it's hard to even like speculate what's the answer right now.
I actually didn't even know about that. The change in the qualification. That's interesting. But I will say there's two things. First of all, the FIGC, the president elections are only June 22nd. So, I don't even expect coaching announcement to be made until that time. Guys, it's more than a month away. Whether these Conte rumors are true, I don't know. Like you guys said, there's no president. So I don't know where these rumors would be coming from. Also, I would be in favor of a foreign coach, maybe even Pep Guardiola. Maybe if he's interested in international football, maybe this is the project for him to start. Look how many teams have foreign coaches across the world. Brazil, they went for an Italian guy. Some of the best nations in the World Cup right now have Italian coaches. But then an Italian coach coaches the Italian national team and can't get it done. So maybe we have to do a little Uno reverse card over here. I don't think they'll go that way. I think there's too much prestige, too much history in the job that they'll want to stick with an Italian. Conte seems like a good idea, but my knock against him is whoever they choose, I want him to stay 4 years, right through the World Cup, the 2030 World Cup qualification. None of this, 2 years, go to the Euros, that's it. Like, it's a 4-year project at this point. They need to qualify for the Euros, obviously. I want them to have success in 2 years. But whoever's taking this job, it has to, be willing to take on 4 years. Of course, unless he's really bad and he's fired, right? So in that case, I don't see it being Conte. But like you guys said, I think we do have to wait for the FIGC elections come June. And what's weird is also, look, Italy plays 2 games in the beginning of June against Luxembourg and Greece. These are friendlies. I get they need to play games. I get it, but they feel like the most useless friendlies ever. Like, especially against these 2 teams that obviously aren't going to the World Cup. Like, what's the caretaker coach Baldini even going to do? I don't know if you guys expect anything at all of these 2 games. And I hope maybe it's some younger players playing and all the veterans are out, but what's the point?
Yeah, I think it's a good chance for like a reset, like throw the young guys out there. I think they've talked about that. Like, didn't they talk about fielding just all the U23s or something like that?
Probably, especially if Baldini's the coach.
I saw that, and I think I saw one of the teams, I don't know if it was Greece or the other one, was saying that they would not play the game if Italy did that, which is equally kind of stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good chance for Italy to to reset the squad that way and see what we have. I think we have a lot of, we know we do. We have a lot of talent. That's not the issue. It's playing them and getting them experiences is historically what the issue's been. So I do want to throw out one other candidate. Actually, I'm going to throw out one that I don't like, and I'm going to throw out one that I do like. The first that I don't like, who I think is going to be an option, Simone Inzaghi. There's rumors that he's going to be leaving Al Hilal at the end of the season. And he's going to be there. I don't see a ton of jobs opening up this summer elsewhere. Madrid, City already got their replacements lined up, it seems. Liverpool's going to keep with Slot. Inter's going to keep on. Milan, Allegri will probably stay. So I don't know. I think that kind of leaves Inzaghi maybe potentially being open to it. Why I don't like it, besides being Interista, is the 3-5-2. And I think I think we all know it. Italy needs to get back to a back 4. That's our strength. Not these wingers. I don't think we have the wingers to get back to the top of world football. And I just think it's in our DNA. So, I don't love him for that unless he was willing to change. But, history has shown that that's really his preferred formation. But the other one, and this is kind of a curveball, very young coach. He's currently my favorite coach, Palladino. Is he ready for it? I don't think so. Probably not. Is he the type of manager that I want not only for Milan, my club, but also my country? Absolutely. I think he's a really solid manager, really young. I think it's a good risk to take. I think now is a good time to take a risk. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think of those two names.
Good choices.
Zaghi and Palladino, I think that'd be awesome. Will it happen? I don't know. What do you think, Nick?
Zaghi is still, I guess he's still under contract in was it Saudi Arabia? Probably need a lot of money. Yeah, those are good names. Like, will it happen? No clue. At this point, it's a toss up, and I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day it's someone no one's even mentioned or thought about before. So we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like a dark horse could be Italiano.
Yeah,
I think he's pretty well perceived, I'd say, across the board. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about him. He doesn't really give me a wow factor with his style of football, but he has a lot of international experience, which I think is another good thing. So
yeah, that's a good point. Guys, we're on topic of international teams. World Cup coming up. Obviously, no Italy. You guys all in on the US? What's the mentality like there?
I don't know. I'm not really sure, honestly.
I don't get the sense that people have a lot of confidence in the U.S. men's national team at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like it's tough because I don't know, World Cup. It's kind of like you need to be hitting the World Cup in a certain stride, obviously, because international football can be a roller coaster, and I feel like the U.S. is in the worst spot probably in a long time. I couldn't put a year on it, but I don't know. It just seems like everyone's out of form or hurt or I don't know.
And
it's just a little weird.
The main headline you see around Pulisic at the moment is that he hasn't scored in 2026. And it looks like we're going to have to wait until the World Cup for that to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. That's not a great feeling, I'd say, for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be another year of not rooting for a team in the World Cup or rooting against France, rooting against, against Germany, against the usual suspects. So, another hater World Cup. I think is going to be happening.
Do you guys have any favorites in terms of who you guys think will win?
I personally, if I had to bet, I'd bet probably Spain. And I think my who was it, Morocco in the last one that had that kind of miraculous run. My dark horse underdog is Turkey. Not to win it, just to get to the knockout, maybe even win a few games in the knockout. But I like Turkey for some reason.
Shout out Yildiz, a little Juve love.
I know
from the Romanista. They have the group to do it. I mean,
I think they're in the U.S. group, right?
Yeah, U.S., Australia, Paraguay. My head tells me Spain or France is going to win it. There is the 16-year-old inside of me who is come on, Ronaldo, get that World Cup. It'd be pretty poetic. And, I think Portugal overall is a pretty likable team. And, I don't know. I think that'd be really fun. I hope they make noise. I think it'd generate a lot of buzz and make the World Cup a lot more exciting, but unlikely, obviously. So I don't know that they're necessarily a dark horse like Turkey, but yeah, I think they're the team that I'll probably find myself rooting for if I had to choose one outside of US.
You guys might hate me for this, but I think England It's not coming home. It's not coming home, but they can make a run again because this is a team that's lost 2 straight Euro finals. Was it the semifinals they made a last World Cup, or was that was the one before? I forgot how deep they went in 2022.
I think it was going before.
Yeah, it was 2018. They made the semis. Like, they're a good team. They're a good team, let's be honest. But obviously, the favorites still, like you guys said, I think between Spain and France, you still got to include them. Argentina is repeat champions. I don't see them repeating. Obviously, it's tough to defend their championship, right? We never see this. We rarely see defending champions have success at a World Cup. But Ronaldo, like you guys said, or rather, like Mo said, Ronaldo, the fact that he saw Messi lift the World Cup and he's hungry. It's his last World Cup. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're in a group with Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Obviously one team I'll throw out there is Brazil. My fiance is Brazilian, so I'm going to be cheering for them. I keep telling her, yeah, they're going to win, but we'll see. This is a team that they haven't been doing well lately, but Carlo Ancelotti, I think deep down, the Italian in me is cheering for Ancelotti to lift that World Cup. So maybe an Italian will win the World Cup at the end. And obviously, for Canada, it's exciting. It's weird. It's weird here because it's not like for you guys where the U.S. has made every single World Cup since when? I don't know, in the past at least 5, 6, 7, 8 editions. I don't know when was the last time they failed to make World Cup. But for Canada, it's the second time since 1986. Look, a lot of us here have grown up cheering for other teams, cheering for Italy, cheering for France, Spain, Germany, whatever it is. So we don't have that same. I find people here don't have that same enthusiasm for the Canadian national team. Even Italians. I've talked to even between Adrian and Gianni. It's like, no, we're not going to cheer for Canada because Italy's. We cheer for Italy, and Italy's not in it. It's like, okay, guys, we could cheer for 2 teams. Gianni cheers for Roma and Napoli. I wish he was here that I could tell that to his face, but it is what it is. I am excited for Canada. I'm excited to see home World Cup. They have a group that they could advance from. Look, Bosnia, Qatar, Switzerland. If they want to advance, they need the wins against Bosnia and Qatar straight up. Switzerland, we know they're a tough team. I think Switzerland goes 3 out of 3 in this group. They top it easily. But for Canada, they're at home. They need to use that to their advantage. Obviously, Bosnia is a team that just beat Italy, but look, they beat them. Let's be real. They beat them on penalties against 10 men. Are they that amazing of a team? No. It's going to be tough. Both games for Canada, straight up. They're going to have to play mistake-free football. They're going to have to play. They're going to have to play full heart in front of the home fans. I think their mistake back in Qatar, they had a good game against Belgium, and their coach goes in front of the cameras like, "Oh, we're going to destroy Croatia." Then they go out and lose 4-1. So I think mentality-wise, they've learned from that. Jesse March is a much better coach than Herdman. So I do have some expectations for Canada in this to at least get out of the group. After that, it's bonus. It's so hard to predict with the bracket with these third place teams. You don't know who they could play, and I think that's the tough thing about predicting the tournament entirely. It's like okay, this team could win this group, but then it's like okay, they could play the third place team from eight different groups. So you don't know,
Right.
you don't know how to formulate a bracket. So I
I
don't
mean,
know
when
about
you
you
look at your
guys.
Brazil shout, right? Like Brazil are in a group with Morocco and Scotland, right? Like
Yeah.
Brazil could finish third in that group depending on their play.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's good. Good teams.
I do also love that shout on Brazil. Like they're the total X factor with Ancelotti. Like
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really knows who they are. I don't think they knew who they are. Like I think they're gonna have to figure this out during this World Cup. But of course, Brazil always has the pieces to do it. It's not like, they're lacking in the talent department. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see what they can do. And I think you guys saw, but Neymar got the call up, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, he'll probably be a bench player, come off the bench late. But I think last World Cup it was against Croatia in the quarterfinals. They were leading late. I think it was an extra time. They had just scored, and he was on, and he was telling everyone to get back, play defensive, and everyone was up attacking, and then Croatia scored on a counter, and you could see him afterwards, like, guys, we should have stayed back. We should have stayed back. So, I know Neymar gets a lot of flack, but he's a leader on that team. He's the veteran.
Yeah.
He was there in 2014 at home, right? So him too. You talk about Ronaldo, wanting to win for his country. I think Neymar's in the same situation. Obviously, he's younger. He hasn't played in as many World Cups, but same situation, right? You could even throw in Harry Kane for England in that boat. Those veteran guys who just want to get it done for their countries. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about this whole 40-team World Cup. I know you've talked about it a lot, but I'm nervous for the group stage. It doesn't look like there's gonna be a lot of good games.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. There's a lot of games I will not be watching. Whereas like in the past, like I wanted to watch every single World Cup game. Right. Bill, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it seems like there's a lot of teams that won't be that entertaining, I guess you could say, in the group stages. So yeah, I think I'm sure it's like a money grab, just like all this stuff now. But yeah, I don't really see the point of it. But maybe we'll get a couple big upsets that we would never get in the past.
I'm also curious to see these stadiums. Like, I think it's very realistic. There's a lot of U.S. stadiums that are not full for the World Cup, which I can't really remember the last time or ever like the World Cup struggled to sell out games, but I think that very well could be the case.
Yeah, I mean, the tickets are so expensive. I know at least for the Canada games, it's crazy. I don't know about the U.S. games or just the U.S. stadiums in general. Are you guys going to any of the games by any chance? Or
I'm still waiting to see if tickets come down a little bit. I mean, I had penciled in. I don't even know if I would have paid it, but that Canada-Italy game in Toronto probably would be the game, right? That was the game. Yeah, I don't know. I think looking right now, Los Angeles looks like the cheapest tickets. I think just because it's one of the bigger stadiums, right? But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it comes closer to. I'm kind of penciling in. If you look at the knockout, like the way the knockout round works. Spain and Argentina, if one of them finishes second, that's the first knockout game is Spain versus Argentina if one of them doesn't win the group. So, and that would be in Los Angeles. So I don't know, the tickets aren't crazy for the knockout yet. So I almost want to, kind of bet on that happening and maybe buy a ticket. But as of now, nothing really catching my eye yet. Do we know for the group stage? What would you guys say are the biggest games right now? I haven't even really looked too hard.
I'm looking at the groups. I really don't know. I honestly England. There's England. Sorry, not England. I saw one group, the Uruguay group. Spain.
Yeah. I mean, Brazil, Morocco. If Morocco's kind of got the same momentum as last tournament, that could be entertaining.
There's England, Croatia, and then there's the best one is probably France, Norway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Norway's another dark horse.
Fantastic game, yeah.
And Norway's the best team in the world. And when they got to go in Italy's group, so maybe they'll carry that.
Even Group F, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. No superstar teams, but I feel like this group's it's a toss up. That could be an interesting one. The USA group, it again toss up. Same thing with Canada's group, besides Switzerland in first place, I'd say. But we say all this, but I feel like once the tournament kicks off, I'll be watching all the time. And I hope at least for the smaller teams like Cape Verde or Curacao, they have that passion and they have that good storyline, right? That everyone wants to watch. I don't know if you guys agree. Maybe some of these smaller countries, we will be cheering for them.
It's funny, it's like that feeling that I usually have with those kind of countries. Just because of the expanded format, I have that feeling with the Croatias in this World Cup, those teams, right? Croatia, Portugal, those are my teams that I'm kind of rooting for from more of an underdog standpoint. I don't know. I hear you. I just don't Cape Verde is going to lose to Spain, 4-0 in that first game. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're going to have a lot of really ugly games in the group stage.
Yeah.
So,
You're cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, and somehow Italy is not in this field. It's kind of depressing.
Don't remind me. At least at least for me, at least seeing Canada home World Cup, it definitely softens the blow. It's not like 2018 where I had 0 teams to cheer for. Like that was terrible. That was a real hate watch World Cup.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and hopefully Italy gets back on it. Guys, look, thanks for coming on again. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to talk about, wanted to get off your chest, whether it's about the Italian national team or the Serie A.
This is kind of a troll question for you. Does Juve lose Yildiz if they do not go in the Champions League this year?
I forget what his contract is like.
I know they just signed him to that long deal, but I don't know. It makes you wonder, right? Like, don't you feel a little bit scared when you have a player like Yildiz and the team's not performing? I feel like you kind of become, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
Personally, I think it would take multiple seasons of not making Champions League, like at least 2. Like maybe he gives Juve one more season next year. Like I wouldn't see him leaving this summer unless he has like an outstanding World Cup and Real Madrid comes calling with $200 million for a transfer fee or whatever they want to give. But I don't see him leaving anytime soon. I do seriously believe he wants to be that guy who's going to stay at Juve for a long time. Probably not the rest of his career. Let's be honest, that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, not after just one season and not making Champions League. Look, and I've said this on the podcast before. Like, he's an amazing player, but there are some games where we do feel like we need more from him, particularly against Fiorentina as well. There's a lot of chances or kind of made the bad pass, bad decision, this and that. So maybe if he's the superstar for all 38 games, maybe Juve makes the top 4. So I think it's kind of like he needs a team and the team needs him to both improve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. I mean, I think, look, like Juve lacks a lot of talent at the moment that they got to put around him. So I feel like, I don't know, all things considered, they're not far away, right? Like I think if they get 2 to 3 signings right this summer, things could really change. But yeah, I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. But it will be fun to watch him. Like for the derby this weekend, like I'll definitely have my eye on Yildiz to see. He should be the guy who stands up, right? And
hopefully
pulls one back.
Especially in the derby.
Yeah, I do think it's always tough too, because like personally, I wish Juve loses every game, but I do think a strong Juve is good for the league, right? It's like strong financial Juve also keeps a lot of the Italian guys that are going to the Prem for these big deals. It keeps them in Italy too. You know what I mean? So it's always tough, when Juve's down bad a little bit, because they do, what is it, a rising tide lifts all boats. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it is, maybe if they miss out on one Champions League, but it is good for the league. I think this weekend Roma financially has the most to lose, because if they don't make Champions League, I think they might have to sell a couple guys that they would rather not sell.
Yeah,
Roma needs to have been saying that for years. Yeah, if we don't make Champions League, we're gonna have to sell, and then somehow Roma's the only team in Europe who's still in the financial fair play issues. It seems like they've been in for, because they don't sell anybody.
I know that, but I think this, if they don't make it, there's probably going to be big decisions on Conte and Dika. I don't know. Yeah, they're gonna. I think Roma has a lot to. It's a big weekend. Some stuff.
I mean, this would be a huge feat for Gasperini.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be like, and for me, it'd be ginormous. Like, I think I think Roma's been just like, I don't know. They've been close, but also so far at the same time. And obviously, like, the Conference League title. This should have been Europa League title that they should have won. They've been doing really well, like from like a sporting perspective. Roma's, I think they've had a really strong 5 years, even without Champions League. But yeah, I don't know. I just think with what Roma's been up against, like I think Gasperini to come in year one and get it done is like I think that's a pretty big accolade that he could add to his collection. So I don't know. I think it's exciting times for Romanisti.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't know what I think it was maybe an American owner thing. I don't know what the Friedkins were thinking, like bringing in Gasperini, but then having him report to Ranieri, which if you bring in Gasperini at a club like Roma, I feel like you're turning the keys over to him and he kind of should call the shots. So now that's the case. And I know, he's going to have a bigger say in the medical team, which he wanted. He's going to have a bigger say in where they train. I think they're going to go to the Alps potentially in the summer instead of England. So I love Ranieri, but yeah, if you're going to hire Gasperini, you don't just hire him, just to coach. I feel like it's kind of like an organizational reset. So it is exciting to see them, going all in on it.
Did this win streak start when they fired Ranieri? I can't remember. When was that?
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to put that out there. Ranieri is he's a god.
No. I think more of a like serenity within the club.
Like two fighting parents and they finally separate and the kids are happier type vibe.
Well, I feel like Gasperini could be like a little spoiled baby sometimes. Like if he doesn't get what he wants from his players or management, he kind of can be a bit of a loose cannon. So
yeah, I don't think he's the easiest to deal with.
No.
Yeah.
As a
that's why at the beginning of the year I thought he'd either be great or not even make it through the year just because he's so temperamental. And I didn't know if he was just a guy who, can't be at the big clubs, but can just take a middle club and bring him to the top. I didn't know what the path was going to be, but yeah, no, he's, I guess we'll just wait and see this Sunday. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. But by the way, Ranieri left the club April 24th. Roma Forno since then. So numbers don't lie. I will say, Billy, if Juve doesn't make Champions League, one team I would like to see in it, Roma. Straight up, like Roma's always had a bit of a soft spot for me. Especially they played here in Montreal back in 2016 against the Impact in a friendly. It was Totti heading into his last season. Alisson has just joined the team. I'm pretty sure Salah was still on the team. Like, that was a fun game to see. Some really cool players to see. So I've always had a soft spot for them. So if Juve does make it, I guess Forza Roma. I guess I'll say that. I'd rather see them than even Napoli. I know Napoli's made it, or even Como, the fake Italian team at this point. I
want Milan out. I want Roma, Como, Napoli, and Inter. I want pure craziness. Milan, get Milan out of here hiring Allegri like it's 10 years ago. Like they're making a huge
guys, from March 1st to April 18th, Roma played 9 matches. They won 2 of them. They won 2 of them against Lecce and Pisa.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see that.
And then since then, they go 4-0 against Bologna, Fiorentina, Parma, Lazio. Jeez. I mean, look, a lot of this stuff's mental, right? Like, I think it very well could have, played a part in getting the squad at least focused, right? Like, I think that's a big part of it. So
it's going to be a good game. Verona's going to be in good form right now. Like I said, no Ndika. Probably no Conte. It's going to be, they're going to have to earn it, that's for sure. So we'll see.
Anyways, guys, it was an absolute pleasure having you guys on again. Too bad Adriano Gianni couldn't join this time. So next time they will maybe win it to Canada-US World Cup final. Enjoy this last match day of the Serie A.
I want to give a quick shout out. Me and my brother have a minority stake in our hometown team, Melfi, and we just got promoted to Serie A D for next year. So
no way, that's awesome. Congrats.
So we're building something great down there. Basilicata will be at Serie A in 3 or 4 years, and that's it.
So Melfi?
Melfi,
Yeah.
MELFI.
And they just got promoted to City. That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
Congrats.
We're building.
That's cool. And
one.
Basilicata, cool. That's awesome.
I also too. I think this could be parting words, but Billy, is there any like send off you'd like to give Il Faraone? Al Sharawi.
I just ordered his jersey of this year, so I can have his last jersey. One of my favorite all-time players. Yeah, just I know he's got Milan roots. Just one of the best. One of my favorite. The hair is iconic. El Shaarawy.
Truly a Serie A legend.
Yeah, definitely. Never played in a World Cup though. Unfortunately, one of those that missed out.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, is there any other shout outs you want to give? Where can people find you on social media?
Follow us at Forno Tony, FRNOTONY.
And obviously, Calcio Guys, you know where to follow us at the Calcio Guys on all your favorite podcasting platforms and social media. Billy and Mo, thank you very much again. Like I said, I'll have to come down to the Forno Tony one day. I'll wear the shirt when I walk in, and you'll know who it is. But that's it. Thanks again, guys.
Juve fans pay double. Don't forget to bring
Okay, no worries. Thanks, guys, and thanks for listening.
See you, bro. For the Roma.